live from the Counterpunch Media Mobile Studios in Grand Blanc, Michigan. It's time for real lives, real families, real fitness. It's time for Derek Noel Fitness.
What is going on, everyone? Hello and welcome to episode 38 of Derek Noel Fitness Live. As you can see, I am actually in my living room today, as opposed to normally. By the way, in case you were ever wondering, this is exactly where I always am. Just there's a big old green screen usually up. I figured since we all know everybody's at home anyways, that I might as well just do the show from home. And this is going to be a pretty cool show. This is actually me not talking about a workout that I've programmed myself. It's not me talking about anything. I'm taking something that someone else posted, and I felt like it was good enough that I wanted to do a deep dive on form and everything like this so that everyone who wanted to could do this workout. Now, what workout? Actually, before we get to that, if you could, make sure you give this a like, comment, and let me know if you were watching, and give it a little share, as the kids these days say. And that way, as many people as possible can see this. So in case you are watching on YouTube, you probably already know what this is because of the show title. But for those watching on Facebook, for those listening, this episode is going to be all about Arnold Schwarzenegger's at-home workout that he actually reposted on Reddit a couple days ago for everyone to do this. He originally posted this workout back in the 1970s, which is the picture that I did for the promotional, like, hey, watch this later on. That's where those pictures of Arnold actually came from, was from this program when he originally wrote it back in the 70s. And it is an awesome, awesome at-home workout. It hits basically everything, and it all is involving stuff you probably have at your house. And if not, you might want to try and at least get these things. And I'll show how a bunch of other things work. I do have my phone on me, so if you ever have any questions in the middle of doing this, make sure you drop them in the comments. Like I said, I have that right up on my phone. And yeah, I'm going to start doing this basically exactly through the guidelines until this whole thing is going, especially because gyms are, as of last night, closed until April 13th in Michigan. So that gives me a lot of time to be able to do some bodyweight stuff and for me to focus on getting strong that way, because there's more than one way to get strong. You don't need to always be lifting heavy weights in order to do that. Even though it might be the preferred method, it's definitely not the only way. So Arnold Schwarzenegger wrote this workout back in the 1970s. And he had these guidelines, all of which I will post the Reddit thread that Arnold posted himself, and he's been responding to people doing it. But these are the guidelines set by Arnold. Again, I had nothing to do with this. Arnold is just one of my idols in multiple different facets of life, and I wanted to be able to show that even people like Arnold would be working out at home doing things like this, instead of always forcing themselves to go to a gym and then getting depressed because they couldn't work out. So, without further ado, these are the guidelines. This is a program that you do every other day, maybe 4 times a week, or if you just go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, and so on and so forth, every other day is going to be perfect. The system is very, very simple as well. There's no as many rounds as possible. There's no every minute on the minutes. There's no going around the room 4 times. There's none of that. The system is very simple. If it says to do, say, 50 reps, you do 50 reps of that exercise before you move on. You do them however you can with perfect form. So if you know that there's no way you're going to be able to get 50 push-ups, which are in this workout, then you can adjust that to make sure that you can do it. When we're doing this, we want to make sure every single rep is perfect, because if you're cheating reps, you are cheating yourself. Again, that's Arnold's words, not mine, but it is also very, very true. I'm actually going to throw that a little bit off screen. So form is always going to be first here. Sure, can someone bust out, let's say, 50 push-ups all in one set. Yeah, are all of them going to be absolutely perfect reps? Chances are probably not. So that's where it comes in that doing 5 sets of 10 push-ups or even 10 sets of 5 push-ups with perfect form are going to be way better and way more impressive than doing 1 set of 50 reps that look like crap. And they're going to feel like crap, and you're not going to be getting as much of the stimulus as needed. And I'm going to be going through perfect form for all of the exercises on here. I'll list them off first, and then we'll just go through them one by one. So there are going to be different numbers. There is a beginner number, and then there is an advanced number, which is more like an intermediate, and then we can go advanced from there, but Arnold only gave 2 numbers. You want to make sure that you are doing the rep numbers where you're going to be able to do this 2 days from now. The goal is not to be so sore that you can't do this workout again in 2 days. Will you be feeling it? Probably, because it's a full body workout. A lot of different things are going to be going on, but that's just how it goes. Adjust the exercises as needed. I've been talking about push-ups already. A really good way to adjust your push-ups if you don't have push-ups with perfect form from your toes is to use something like a counter, or to go down to your knees, or use something else like I'll show you a couple different things. You could even use a couch if you so chose. It's really cool to be able to do those different things. A bunch of different ways you could do that. You want to be able to track your progress too. If you're able to do 5 perfect reps at a time, so if you're able to do 5 perfect push-ups at a time, try and do 6 the next time you do it. So on Monday, if you were able to get a bunch of sets of 5, maybe try and ramp that up to sets of 6. The end goal is going to be to reduce the number of sets that you have to do. And a set is the number of repetitions at once. So that's where it comes into the 5 sets of 10 reps. If you can go into like 4 sets of 12 over time, or something like that, 3 sets of 15 and then a little mini set of 5 just to finish it off. That's going to be the way that we track the progress here, mainly because we can't track weight, but that doesn't mean we can't track those things. You can track the number of sets it takes you to hit each target. That's what we're looking for. Now, I have all of these things lined up. The other thing that I haven't told you yet is we actually have a second camera set up. So we're going to be cutting back and forth between the cameras, just so you know. If you are listening to this right now, this is definitely an episode that I really, really, really recommend you try and find a video source right now. If you don't have one right now, or you're listening in the future, pause this, go over to YouTube and check it out. You can find that on Counterpunch Media. If you're watching this live, cool. If you're listening live, I really recommend switching over to YouTube or Facebook or anywhere you can watch it. All those links are in my previous post of where to watch it. So, that being said, I'm going to do one check right now. Ain't nobody saying hi to me today. I see how it is, everybody. I see how it is. But that's fine. We're going to get right into this. So, I'm going to be giving 2 different sets of numbers for each of these exercises. We're going to have push-ups. We're going to have dips. We're going to have rows, sit-ups, bent leg raises, bent over twists, squats, and calf raises, and then there's a bonus one at the end I'll say later. You might be wondering how we're going to be doing dips and rows at home without any dip bars or anything like that. I'll show you. It's actually really cool. Again, this is straight from Arnold to be able to do this at home. So first things first, we have push-ups for 25 to 50 reps. Let's talk about these push-ups. Let's go ahead and switch these cameras over to the other one because we're dropping down to the ground. All right, we're on the ground. We're getting ourselves ready for these push-ups. First things first, if we have these from the toes, we want to make sure that we're getting full range from the toes. There are a few different things that I see all the time when we're doing push-ups, and I'm going to go straight on here so that everyone can see what I see. Now, you're looking at me as if you're my coach right now. I'm going to get rid of this. Actually, I'm going to move this chair out of the way real quick. And then I'm in this push-up position. A couple things that I see. People bringing their hands out way too far and coming in and hitting push-ups up here. 2 things that does. That puts a ton of strain on your shoulders, and you're reducing that range of motion. We want to make sure we can keep ourselves in. This is a really cool trick that I've learned over time that I love to be able to get people to set up with push-ups. First thing we're going to do, we're going to lay flat on the ground, and I apologize in advance if the microphone cuts out a little bit. I'm going to put my hands over my head. I'm going to pull back like I'm doing a stick up, and I'm going to plant my hands on the ground. If I do this every single time, so bring it in, nice good push up, drop down, push up, drop down. My hands are in a perfect position. That is what we're looking for. We want a nice 45-degree bend, so I want to make sure now if I turn to the side that my elbows aren't flared out all the way to the sides. I want them almost tucked in. So from here, I'm going to be lowering myself down, pushing myself up. If I need to, I can drop down to the ground and start these reps from the ground. And I'm trying to keep my body nice and straight. I'm not letting my butt sag down or anything like that. Again, if we need to, we can take something like, I have this chair right here. I can do something like a push-up on the chair, which is a little bit easier, or I can even go to a countertop in the kitchen or something like that. Whatever we can do to make sure we have perfect form is what we're going to be doing. We're going to switch back. So we have push-ups. That's the first one. We're looking 25 to 50. 25 is the beginner one. So if we're doing 5 sets of 5, that is a perfect start. If we're a little bit more advanced, we can do 5 sets of 10. We want to go up to 50. If you don't have 25, that's okay. Choose a smaller number, start working up. So if your goal is to only do 10 per day, awesome. If you need to break them up between morning and night, do that. This is accumulative throughout the day, excuse me. Let's go on to the next one, which is dips. Now, anyone who's done dips has done them either hanging from rings or they've done them from equalizer bars. I have something better. At home, most of us have dinner tables or we have chairs. So I have one chair that I've been sitting in, secret prop, and then I have another chair right here. Now, you'd think that these might not be super stable. These are actually fairly stable. I'm actually going to raise this camera up a little bit right now. Raising it up so you can see my wonderful face. Might need to go up a little bit higher, actually. A little bit. All right. So I have 2 chairs. I'm going to be standing in between the 2. It doesn't necessarily look like I'm in between them, but I am. Now, I have these sturdy handles. I'm making sure, just for my sake, I have the extra support of the arms, the ones with the armrests. And I'm just going to go right up. Now check this out. Right up, I can lower myself down. Right now, my feet are touching because my legs are straight. And I can push up, right down. So all of a sudden, I'm doing dips. And what you're not going to be able to see is my feet hanging off the ground. I can lower myself right in, and I'm going in and out. The goal here is to be between 20 and 50 reps. If I need my feet to touch the ground, that's okay. If I need to kind of jump them up a little bit because my arms aren't strong enough to hold yet, that's okay too. Again, it's building up that endurance. And if you're wondering why I'm getting a little winded, it's because talking and explaining things at the same time can get fairly difficult. So we have chairs which can do a lot of work with. And let's go check that feed real quick. If you don't think that this is going to work, I weigh 180 pounds right now. 2 chairs are able to hold 180 pounds. If you're a little bit heavier, you're probably still going to be good. Nice, sturdy hardwood is what we're looking for. So we have dips between those chairs. If you do not have anything like this, you can go into a really narrow grip push-up and push that way too. That'll make sure that we're hitting the backs of the arms really well as well. So we have push-ups and we have dips. Next up, we have rows. Here comes my next prop. I have a broom handle, and yes, I know that at any point in time, this could totally turn into a fail video. I'm trying to see, we'll go here. I'm just gonna lower this camera down a little bit again. So when we're doing this, again, I have a broom handle. I made sure that it was a very stable broom handle. I'm not going to use any light plastic one. I took this thing. There is no bending this with any amount of strength. That's what I'm looking for. I'm gonna scoot these out a little bit. And again, nice and sturdy. I'm leaning into this. It's not really bending at all. So I'm set here. These things have this. I'm sure everybody's watching, excited to see this turn into a fail video, but I guarantee you it will not. So I'm going to be lowering myself in. I'm down, pulling my chest up, lowering down. I'm sliding because I'm not wearing shoes. That was a mistake on my part, but that's okay. So I can bend my knees to make sure that I'm not sliding, and I'm going to go rows between chairs. I'm making sure that I'm squeezing with my back. My hands are just hooks. They're just hooks, and I'm pulling my elbows back. I'm making sure that I'm not pulling up. I want to make sure that my elbows are down. So when I'm pulling and I'm extending, it's almost like my hands are in line with my chest. My hands are not in line with my shoulders. Again, this is a really cool one. It's actually not something that I even thought of. Arnold knows a lot of different ways to do things. This is an awesome way to do things. This piece is going to be coming into play in a little bit. So we have a row between chairs. We want between 30 and 50 reps. Again, if you're starting to fail or you're not able to pull yourself up all the way, stop. Give yourself probably 45 seconds to a minute and a half of rest, and then do it again. Because remember, we're not allowed to move on to the next one until we are done. We have 3 exercises so far. We're going to bring it right back to the ground. I'm going to get this stuff cleaned up real quick. Moving those out of the way. All right. And we're back on the ground again. Exercise number 4 of this nice Arnold at home workout is sit-ups. There's going to be a very big spread here. Beginners, you're looking at 30 reps. So if you could do 6 sets of 5, I'm doing math really quickly here, you're cool. People who are more advanced, you're looking at 100 reps. So very, very big range here. If you're somewhere in between, that's okay. Pick that number and go for it. If you're not, if you know that you can get 100 reps, break them up however you need to. 5 sets of 20, 4 sets of 25 is how I typically go with these. But depending on how my abs are already feeling from previous days, I might want to break that up. When we're going with sit-ups, a lot of people do these very wrong too. So one thing that people do that you'll actually see Arnold kind of doing is in the sit-up, he'll end it and his back will be super round. So if you're looking on the video right now, when I'm on this top position, I'm kind of crunched in and my back is really round. I can do a really good way, or do a good job of being on the ground, hands up. People like grab onto their head and crank themselves up, then bring themselves all the way down. That's not really needed. What I like to do to keep my back nice and straight is I will actually drop my feet into a butterfly position, and then when I sit up, I can just tap my feet and my back is nice and straight. It's a butterfly sit up. It's awesome. I stole this variation from CrossFit, just 100%. So my back gets to stay nice and straight. I drop in, keep my abs nice and tight. I sit up nice and tall. Bring myself down, right up, nice and tall. If I need to, I can have my hands behind my head. But again, I'm making sure I'm not cranking on my neck. Really, really safe way to do sit-ups right there. Keeps your back nice and straight. So if you have any lower back issues, it will help mitigate those a little bit, or you can always swap out the ab exercise for something that won't hurt as much. Again, we're looking at 30 reps to 100 reps here for the advanced. Really big number swing. The next one is going to not be as bad. But before we get to the next one, which we'll still be on the ground for, we're going to take a quick break.
You're listening to Derek Noel Fitness here on IPMNation.com/Counterpunch. He'll bring the smarts. Now the sweat, well, that's up to you.
And we are back. All right, still on the ground here. So far, we've gone through 4 exercises of this Arnold at-home workout. We've gone through push-ups. We've gone through dips on chairs, of all things. We've gone through rows on chairs, and we've gone through sit-ups. The next 2 we're actually going to be doing involve the abs. And they're really, really nice ones too. So we just got done with our sit-ups, which are going to hit the more visible parts of our abs, the rectus abdominis. That's those 6-pack muscles. We're going to hit everything else in the next ones. So the next exercise we have is a bent leg raise. So I like to call these almost reverse crunches, but I'm going to lay on the ground, flat back. I like to plant my hands, and I'm going to basically bring in my knees, lower myself down. I'm going to bend my legs. I can go a little bit lower and keep my knees bent. This is more of a reverse crunch, or I can go in and bring in and tuck in my knees. Now, I've noticed over time, because this was written in the 70s, that some people will have lower back issues with this. If that is the case, keep your legs bent the whole time and turn it more into a reverse crunch, because I'm still working my abs in this range of motion here, and when I'm laying on the ground, my back gets to stay on the ground, which is what we want. Or if we're hell-bent on sticking our legs out, then we can just kind of tuck our knees in and go that way. So nice, good bent leg raises, keeping those abs nice and tight. Really easy one to get through with that. For the next one, we're going to hop back up, and we're going to be going over something called bent over twists. And we're on this other camera, hopefully. If not, we're moving right along through this. All right, so I have my broomstick back for this one. I can actually bring this camera up. Lots of camera movement today. A lot more than I thought there was going to be, but that's okay. So I have this broomstick. I have this really bright light above me. I'm going to put this broomstick on my back. I can kind of reach out. Now, we have a bent over twist. It's exactly what it sounds like. I'm going to be twisting, and I'm going to be doing it bent over. I want to make sure that I'm not twisting my hips so much. So I'm going to be bent, I'm going to twist, and then I'm going to twist. I'm going to be going down, or going as much as I need to, making sure I'm kind of centered with the camera. And I'm not going super fast. I'm just making sure I get a nice stretch each time, pulling in, keeping those abs nice and tight, and then I can go through here. This was one of Arnold's favorite exercises for making his abs look how they did. And he actually got it from Frank Zane. His nickname when he was working out was called the Chemist, because he did everything as scientifically as possible as he could in the 1970s. And he was considered one of the best actual physiques of all time. He was considered the most well-rounded physique of all time, which is really cool. These work the obliques really well, those side muscles and the abs. If you do these a ton, it will help to develop that V-taper a little bit more. It may not help with strength so much, but it'll definitely help with that V-taper. So bent over twists, again, this broomstick right on the back. I'm bent over, keeping my back nice and straight. I'm just going to be going side to side, keeping those abs nice and tight. We're going to move on to the squat now. So I'm kind of done with that equipment. I'm grabbing a couple other things though, because there are a couple props that I will put over here towards the low camera in a second. So for squats, oh, by the way, for bent over twists, we are looking at 25 reps. So 1 rep, by the way, is 1 time on each side. We're looking for 25 for beginners. We're looking for between 50 and 75 for more advanced people. The next one, we're moving into the lower body. We have the good old squat. So with squats, my upper body isn't as important for this one, but I want to make sure that I'm kind of on both so I can be talking, and then Mr. Producer can cut cameras however is going to look best. We have squats. So when we're squatting, there are a couple different variations. I'll show you my version of a squat, and then I'll show you what Arnold had people doing in the 70s. Both of them actually work really well. So it'll be up to you how you want to do it. If you're a purist, you're going to go the way that I show second. If you just want to get these done, go with the way I'm showing you right now. So when I'm squatting, I'm going to push the booty back, and I'm going to drop down into the bottom, and I'm going to stand all the way back up. I want to sit down as low as I can and drive up. This is going to work the entire leg system. So I can come up and I can come down, driving through and making sure that my legs are doing a lot of work. Again, we want to make sure that these are perfect reps. So if I'm sitting here and I'm going down halfway and I'm just kind of trying to crank these out, that's no good. I'm cheating myself out of a lot of work. Make sure you take some time, you drop it down, you really feel for those reps. You really want those legs to work. So that's the first way. I'm going to do those one more time as we switch cameras over real quick. So I'm making sure my heels are on the ground. I'm pushing my butt back. I'm going to sit down as low as I can to that squat, keeping my feet all the way on the ground, standing up, going down and up. Now, Arnold actually wrote these as knee bends, which he also put squats in parentheses. Also a completely valid way to do this. I have a couple different things here. I had a 25-pound plate, which is right here. This thing that just slid underneath me. I have a 25-pound plate for me to elevate my heels. Or, if you're like me and you have a bunch of textbooks just laying around, I have a big old textbook that I can use too, which is actually going to raise my heels up even more. This is awesome if you don't have a, full range of motion on the squat, because it raises you up and it allows you to get a better depth in that squat without sacrificing your knees, which is cool. So if I move over onto this book now, and keep in mind with this one, I'm keeping my legs a little bit closer together to be able to hit this. And I'm going to go down, my knees are going to crack, I'm going to come up. Hopefully your knees don't actually crack, mine just do all the time. So I'm going down all the way. Again, I'm not just cranking these out for the sake of cranking them out. I'm going all the way down, driving all the way up. My legs are doing a lot of work. This way, with the heels elevated, makes this exercise a little bit more front of the leg quad dominant, which is totally cool. I love this exercise. Squats are probably one of my favorites. We're looking for 25 reps for beginners. Again, we can go right off the ground, or we can step on and go that way as well. Advanced people, we're going for 50 to 70 reps, or even higher than that maybe. Again, we want to be breaking these reps up. The next exercise we have is a calf raise. So we're still going to be using these props, whatever ones they are. I'm going to use this nice big plate for the sake of it. I'm going to put my toes on. My feet are going to be nice and close together. And I'm going to raise myself up as high as I can onto my toes and lower myself back down and drive all the way up and back down. If my feet are having a hard time with that, I just have this nice big book. I can do the same exact thing. I'm looking for 25 to 50 reps. I'm taking my time. I'm driving all the way up as high as I can onto my very tippy toes, lowering myself right back down. That's definitely going to hit the back of the calves. You should be able to get a nice burn going with no body weight there. Even The Rock doesn't really do calf raises with any amount of weight. So we've gone through 8 exercises so far. The bonus 9th one, I'll talk about in a minute. I want to give this nice little rundown though. I'm going to switch back over to the other camera real quick. We have 8 exercises here. I'm a little out of breath just from demonstrating and talking at the same time because, again, it's harder than it seems. But we have exercises that hit basically all parts of the body. We have push-ups, we have dips. So push-ups, chest, triceps, a little bit of shoulders. We have dips, which is definitely triceps and a little bit of shoulders. We have rows, which is going to be all things back and biceps, mostly in the back though. We have sit-ups, which are going to be abs. We have bent leg raises, which are going to be abs. We have bent over twists, which are going to be abs. We have squats, which are just all of the legs, and then calves, which are, calves, those wonderful little machines down there. Really, really good exercises. The last one we have is a chin-up. And I left this one to last because this is the optional one. Some people don't have anywhere to do chin-ups, period. I actually don't have a place to do them in my house. I also don't trust those bars that you can put in doorways. I've seen way too many fail videos of those things falling off in the middle of people doing chin-ups for me to want to be able to use one of those. So if you have a place to hang a bar, a nice sturdy bar, awesome. If you don't, that's okay. I'll show you a way that you can do that, kind of adapting how we had those dips or the row between the chairs. So I'm going to take a second. I'm going to get all of this equipment out of the way real quick. A little bit of it. And we're going to get these chairs set up one more time. Again, nice and easy setup. It really doesn't take a lot. I'm going to have this broomstick hanging out. Again, I'm making sure when I push down on it, we're totally cool. Now, a chin-up, which this camera is going to come down a little bit, We're just going to stay on this main camera for the rest of the night. Coming down a little bit real quick. So the chin up is a vertical movement. So I'm trying to pull myself up from the very bottom, and I'm trying to keep myself upright while I'm doing it. So I'm not trying to lean back. I'm trying to stay underneath. I'm going to pull myself up, chin over the bar, right down. Then up, chin over the bar, right down. I can go narrow if I need to. That'll actually hit my biceps a little bit more. So that'll hit the biceps a little bit more. And this is another really good exercise for the back, a little bit for the forearms. It's a really good way to begin your chin-ups journey, especially if you've never done one before. This is a really good way to start. And if you have a bar that you can hang off of, that's a really good way. Or if you're kind of intermediate and you don't really have one, but you have a bar, take one of these chairs, stand on the chair, and do a jumping one and try and hold yourself up and lower yourself down as slowly as you possibly can. Beginners, you're just looking for 10, period. More advanced people, going around 30 is probably going to be a good idea, maybe some more. So again, the chin-ups are the completely optional one, mainly because not everyone has the equipment to be able to do them, do a purist, chin-up, but this is a really, really good option to be able to do that. Real quick, I'm going to check the comments one more time. It is about that time to start wrapping up, so if you have any questions about these exercises, about push-ups, dips, rows, sit-ups, bent leg raises, bent over twists, squats, calf raises, or chin-ups, you can always shoot me a message and ask about them. I will also be posting the link to the Reddit page where Arnold posted this for you to be able to see that and the pictures that he posted, because it is really cool to be able to see his setup back in the 70s when he actually originally released this in one of his books. And again, he just put it out for free because he wanted people to be able to stay healthy at home. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I felt like this could do a lot to help expand on that and to make sure that everyone has good form in video format, because back in the 70s he didn't have any form videos or anything like that. So any comments, questions, concerns, feel free to drop them in the comments. Make sure you go and share this with all of your friends, especially all the ones who have cabin fever and are trying to figure out things to do at home. This might give some ideas, which is awesome. That's what I'm looking for. You can find me on Instagram at @TheDerekNoel. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/TheDerekNoel. That is D-E-R-E-K, by the way. My first name is spelled wrong all the time, so clarification there. And yeah, listen wherever you can listen to podcasts every Tuesday. Again, if you are listening to this one, make sure you go check out the video because this was a very video intensive episode. I tried talking through it as much as I could. And that's about all I got for people today. So have a great one.